Hi, my name's Andy Gillies. I'm a freelance conference interpreter and an interpreter trainer at ISIT in Paris, and I'm coordinator of AIC's training and professional development group. And today I'd like to give you a few ideas about how you can practice for consecutive preparation and analysis. The first exercise is called Reintroducing Context, and it was invented by Benoit Kremer in Geneva. Thank you, Benoit. And it's a wonderful little exercise to prepare for a consecutive speech with a little bit of analysis involved as well. What do you do? Well, somebody finds a headline out of a newspaper or a news website. So, for example, yesterday, this is April 2015, the BBC News website had a headline which read, "Argentina President has Iran cover-up charges dismissed by appeals court." Now, as with any headline, there's an awful lot of background information which isn't explicit in the headline. So this exercise consists of putting back the context. So with that headline, who is the President of Argentina? Cristina Kirchner. Who is Cristina Kirchner? The widow of Nestor Kirchner, also President of Argentina before her. What is this Iran cover-up? Well, in 1994, a Jewish association building in Buenos Aires was blown up, resulting in the deaths of more than 80 people, mostly Jews. And Iran was considered by many to have been involved in that terrorist attack. And people thought in Argentina that the government had covered up Iran's involvement. Why is it in the news now? Well, in 2015, the Argentinian prosecutor, I believe his name is Nisman, was found dead, and in his papers was an accusation of cover-up levelled at the Argentinian president. This has obviously just got to the appeals court, and according to the headline, that charge has been dismissed. Now, there's other background information to that. For example, that it wasn't directly Iran that was supposed to have carried out the attack, but rather Hezbollah, a terrorist group often linked to Iran. The more you know about Argentina, the more you can fill in the details. I'm no great expert, but you can do this with any newspaper headline, and it's a very nice run into your consecutive practice as you anticipate what might be said, what the issues are, and from what direction different speakers might be coming. Okay, the next exercise I wanted to tell you about is called either chunking or chop it up into sections. When you hear a consecutive speech, you sometimes get the impression that it's just an uninterrupted flow of words rushing at you. If you have a look at the text that's on the screen now, you'll see what I've done is recreate that impression that it's an uninterrupted flow of words by taking out the paragraph marks in a text. And that's this exercise. You'll need two people. One of you picks a text and removes all of the paragraph marks from the text. They give the text to the other person, and that person has to put back in, or hit return, for example, in a Word file, where they think the logical breaks in the text should be. So to put the spaces back into the text. And you'll see on the screen now an example of what that same text might look like. It's a very simple exercise, but it does demystify a little bit the speech in breaking it into much more manageable chunks, and it's a very useful exercise early on in your consecutive practice. One thing you'll notice is that if you compare notes with other people who've done the exercise with the same text, is that you've maybe not split in exactly the same place, but one sentence difference. And that's often the case because one sentence might actually be the transition between the two parts. In this example, you'll see the sentence, but there's one aspect which causes some concern. That could really be the end of one paragraph or the beginning of another paragraph. That doesn't really matter. But when you compare notes with others, you should probably all have a break somewhere around there. Okay, and one last quick exercise for consecutive, which you may well have heard of, and it's mind mapping. It's a very useful technique before you have learnt note taking, and perhaps even afterwards. But the idea is simple. Listen to a short consecutive and try and draw a picture of the structure of the speech on a page. There are a number of different ways you can create mind maps, and you can easily find mind map pages online to tell you how to make mind maps. But one technique, for example, is to draw a circle in the center of the page with the subject, and then coming out from that circle a number of branches for each major section of the speech, and then off each branch an offshoot for the subsections of each major section of the speech. And again, you should be able to see an example on the screen of that now. That's very useful because it gives you an overview of the whole speech, and it's very easy in consecutive to lose sight of the whole speech. Having said that, a mind map on a single page, as mind maps have to be, is not necessarily a very good tool for regular consec, because you don't know how much the speaker is going to say about each page, each part of the speech. You might run out of space on the page. But it is a very good analysis exercise. It forces you to look at the structure of the speech on the page and see the whole speech. So it's a very good analysis exercise. I wouldn't necessarily recommend forcing yourself to use mind maps as a note-taking replacement. So there you have it. There are 3 exercises for you for probably early stage consecutive, and I wish you good luck with your practice. Thank you.